From the murky waters of the sportsman's paradise, stories emerge. Stories of the generations of people who have shared in the bounties of the land. Stories of communities that have persevered through natural disasters. Stories of the abundance of fish, wildlife, and adventures that create an ecosystem rich in diversity. And from the silted banks of the mighty Mississippi to the soggy marsh bottoms, from the tops of towering pine forests to the depths of the salty Gulf, human and animal have shared this fortune for centuries. Enjoy these stories as told by outdoor journalists who travel across our state, documenting the adventure, sportsmanship, and heritage that make us Bayou Wild.
Welcome to Bayou Wild. I'm Martha Spencer along with Don Dubuque. We're here at our home base of Morton Seafood Restaurant in Madisonville. You know, in the summertime, it's a great time to get out on the kayak, and a lot of people around the area like to kayak fish. So we head out with Captain Eric Mahabarick and catch some redfish down in Empire.
Look how red he is. Oh, he's so pretty. Look at that fish. Where's Eric with his net? I got it. Oh, he's barely hooked.
And if you've ever been to the freshwater marshes of Louisiana, you may have passed up a pretty sweet little item called a Graine A Voler.
A what?
A Graine A Voler.
Ah.
We go out with the crappie psychic, you might be a Graine A Voler psychic too, and harvest some of those out in the marsh. Now, it's not just enough to find the Graine A Voler. You got to be able to read the ones that are right. This is too young to eat right here. This one's too old. These seeds are ready to germinate. These are the two that you can eat. This one's going to be a little bit harder and a little bit bitter, but this is the one you want. Then we take them into the kitchen of Janelle Fulls and show you what to do with them after you got them.
If you notice, some of the seeds in there are not as fine because you want to get it between a fine meal and a course, like right in between, because you want a little bit of crunch on there.
Closed captioning made possible by Cito.com. Become a member.
Hi, I'm Donnie Rouse. There are a lot of different reasons to shop at Rouse's.
It's the people. Everybody that works here is just so nice.
Our stores get deliveries 7 days a week.
They have such a wide variety at Rouse's. Everything's in stock. I mean, everything.
We use Rouse family recipes and ingredients found right here in the store.
It's the food. Rouse's food tastes like homemade.
And they're local.
Like us.
We also have great prices.
That's the difference Rouse's makes.
Want to be seen on a Bayou Wild episode? Sign up for our Cajun Invasion wild pheasant hunt in the remote hills of South Dakota in mid-November. Bad River Bucks and Birds provides lodging, meals, transportation, dogs, and bird cleaning. Details at dontheoutdoorsguide.com. If you're lucky enough to bag a deer or a hog this season, bring it here to Double D. Double D processes hogs and exotic game and guarantees your product is always the meat you brought to Double D.
Double D Meats in Bogalusa, home of country smoked, spicy jalapeno cheddar, and other customized flavors.
Bring your deer or your hog here to Double D, where you always get your meat back in return. It's worth a drive to Bogalusa from anywhere. Double D.
Nice red, nice red. All right, isn't this great? South Louisiana at its finest, baby. Yeah. He's a good one, man. I bet he's about 18 pounds. All right. Now, it's a redfish. Look how pretty he is. think that's probably about 7. Yeah. All right.
That's a pretty little red. Look at the spots on him. You'll forget you got stung by a catfish when you catch a beautiful redfish with a lot of freckles on it. We were fishing over in the grass, and I cast it into the grass by accident and then pulled my Berkeley gulp back into the bottom, and he ate it off the bottom. We're kind of a little bit protected here, so I think they like just swimming around in the grass, and it's a really pretty fish. It's almost got as many freckles as I do. So these large birds that somewhat resemble birds of prey that are sitting on these oyster poles, there's a ton of them over here. They're actually called frigates. And the reason they're on the poles and not floating in the water like you might see a seagull is they don't have enough natural oil on their feathers to actually be able to take off from the water. They essentially would die. So they're all posted up on these oyster poles here, but they're really tremendous birds because they can fly for weeks at a time. And you'll see them offshore a lot. They'll never actually land in the water, but if you throw a piece of bait out, you'll see them swoop down and get it. They're also the logo for the Invincible boat. They've got really cool aerodynamic tails and about a 3-foot wingspan. I think they're one of the coolest birds I've seen in Louisiana. Look how red he is. Oh, he's so pretty. Look at that fish. Where's Eric with his net? I got it. Oh, he's barely hooked. It hasn't exactly been a banner day out here in the marsh. We've been casting a lot. We switched up our baits from Berkeley gulp to the everlasting gold spoon, which the redfish really can't seem to give up. And I saw this one tailing, threw it right to it, and sure enough, he ate.
You know, today they seem to be biting on some gulp, some Johnson gold spoons. A lot of them are being sight casted. We did catch a trout here or there. Overall, it's a good day. The tide actually just started falling, so things should change up real good. And you can't ask for better than that. He's gonna make some good fillets. We're gonna eat him up.
I find sight fishing more satisfying when I catch a fish because I think it's harder.
Well, I personally think it's easier.
You have to be a really good, accurate cast, but I think putting a dead shrimp on a cork is easier.
That you're correct on that. I will give you that. When they're piled up against the bank on a windblown bank or something like that. But they got boats that are hundreds of thousands of dollars with all of these big giant towers and stuff that you can just go pick out your fish when you want.
We don't have towers in here.
No, we don't have towers in here, so it's a little bit different. We're more personal too.
Yeah, and you can sneak up on them with these too.
You can get wet in big boats.
That fish, we saw him, we pitched it to him, and he ate it. It was pretty cool.
Now kiss him before we put him in ice bag. There you go. You're supposed to do that when you let him go.
Coming up next, the Geese girl, Martha Spencer, and I tell you what happens when the American lotus meets the Cajun crappie psychic.
Well, they're very easy to see. The flowers give it away. But you're looking for the big pads before it starts flowering. And you want fresh water. Normally in the marsh, they grow extremely well.
Whooping cranes are back in Louisiana.
Through the hard work of biologists and key strategic partners, whooping cranes have been restored to the cultural icon they once were. But you can still help. To donate to the Whooping Crane program, visit lawff.org.
Thank you to Chevron and the Louisiana Wildlife and Fisheries Foundation for their generous support. I've been using Louisiana Fish Fry products so much, even the kids are getting into it.
Funny yellow bag, pour and boil, the great crawfish every time.
And whether you're boiling crawfish, shrimp, or crabs, Louisiana Fish Fry products use the perfect blend of garlic, onion, spices, and salt for your seafood boils. So look for the bright yellow bag and pour and boil with Louisiana Fish Fry products. Gaspagoo, Sacalé, Shoepick, a lot of funny names for species in Louisiana. Here's another one, Graine A Voler. That's what we're after today.
Graine A Voler is a French word that means seed to fly. And what the real name is a lotus plant. These plants are harvested a lot in China, really big. They actually farm them. But I've been eating these things, and my Cajun heritage, I've been eating them all my life. That's a pretty one. Most people, it's almost a celebration when the Graine A Volers are ready to pick. A lot of people go out, pick them. Some people pick sacks full and they sell them to other people who can no longer get out, the elderly, and they can't get out and pick them anymore, or people who just don't have the means to come out here and pick them. See how pretty that is? That is a perfect Graine A Voler right there. That's what you want. Now I'm gonna get one that's a little, so we got one. Let's see what we got so far. We got one too young. We got a perfect one. We got one that's ready to seed and drop. We want to get one a little more ripe than this. Remember how I told you how to get a little bitter because the little plant in it gets too green?
Now, it's not just enough to find the Graine A Voler. You got to be able to read the ones that are right. This is too young to eat right here. This one's too old. These seeds are ready to germinate. These are the two that you can eat. This one's going to be a little bit harder and a little bit bitter, but this is the one you want. It's perfect.
Well, the first stage is when it's real young. The pod is just starting to develop, and you're gonna see just the tip of the seed. These are not good to eat yet. It's just starting to develop. The seeds are probably empty. Then your next stage, they're just starting to develop enough to where the plant inside the seed is not dark green. There's not a lot of bitterness in there, and they're really good to eat out here. So then the next stage is when they're getting a lot more ripe. You'll see the colors of the seed start to change. You'll see more of the seed as the seed gets bigger. And then the final stage is when it dries. Of course, the seed pods open up. A lot of them has fell out of here already. And it's hanging this way so the seeds seed to fly. That's how they, grow more plants.
It's like squeezing the tail out of a crawfish. Get the meat out.
Well, probably 2 weeks into June, you can start finding them. But I use July 4th as my peak. I normally don't even start till July because there's a lot more of them. And it'll go into a couple of weeks into August. But I've had friends of mine actually found a few good ones during teal season. Most of them have dropped by then, but you still can find 1 or 2 here and there. Most of your Asian markets will have them, and they'll have them already peeled, some of them dried, some of them roasted. So you can go buy them, and you just look for a local Asian market and they should have them. But they won't be called Graine A Volers, they'll be called lotus seeds, dried lotus seeds. And most people like to boil them, put them in a seafood boil, just like you would boil shrimp, crabs, crawfish, anything like that. And the seeds will pop open while they're boiling and absorb the flavor. Now that's the way a lot of people like them. But there's many, many different ways to cook them, prepare them. Personally, I like them raw when we're out here picking them. I love eating 3 or 4 pods full raw, which my son and my daughter, they also like them like that. But my favorite is pickled. You peel them and you pickle them, and it's seasoned pickle juice, and I like them on salads, and your white beans is really, really good.
Coming up next, we take some Graine A Voler back to the kitchen and show you some mouth-watering recipes.
I won this boat fishing the CCA Star Tournament. Felt so real for about a week.
My name is Amelia, and I'm from Abbeville, and I won this boat.
There's 100 redfish waiting. It all starts Memorial Day weekend. Sign up today.
Want to be seen on a Bayou Wild episode? Sign up for our Cajun Invasion wild pheasant hunt in the remote hills of South Dakota in mid-November. Bad River Bucks and Birds provides lodging, meals, transportation, dogs, and bird cleaning. Details at dontheoutdoorsguy.com.
In 1967, Dutch Stogner realized his dream to run his own meat market. 50 years and 3 generations later, Double D and the Stogner family still operate with Dutch's original commitment to quality. Pick up some Double D sausage today and share your good times with us on Facebook.
So earlier in the show, you saw us harvesting the Graine A Volers out in the pond. We're here in Raceland, of course, with Janelle Fulse. She's going to show us some different ways that you can actually cook not only the seed, but the stalk of the plant also.
You can eat almost the entire lotus pod plant.
Right.
I'm not going to discredit just boiling them, because if you go on the bayous, I mean, those boys down there, they can boil you some Graine A Voler seeds like you would not believe. They're delicious, so I'm not even going to compete with that.
Okay.
But I will show you how to do some different, unique things with them today. Like, for one thing,
We harvested the stalk.
Look at this. It doesn't look too appetizing,
It looks
does
like
it?
rhubarb.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Doesn't look too appetizing, but this thing is really easy to clean. Just use a potato peeler, get the peeling off, wash it really good, cut it up. After you cut it up, it sort of looks like this.
Like French fries.
And that's what we're making today,
Pretty
French
much.
fries. All we're going to do is we're going to batter them up. We're going to go dry, wet, dry. And the reason we do dry, wet, dry is just because you want that exterior dry to really cling onto the egg.
What are we using here for the batter? and
All
wash?
you're using here for the batter is my favorite fish fry, which is Louisiana Fish Fry. Now, I do have it cut a little bit for this particular recipe because I have it cut with just plain all-purpose flour because I want a little bit of a smoother texture to the batter.
Not so grainy.
But I want that amazing flavor of the Louisiana Fish Fry.
So what would you compare this to when people bite into it? Because you
When-
said there were some interesting things
Right.
about it.
When you bite into this right away, the first thing you see is, you know, it's kind of stringy. It almost has like little hair textures. It reminds me of when you peel a stalk of celery.
Yes.
Okay. But the flavor, water chestnuts.
It has that crunch.
It
like a
has
water
that
chestnut.
crunch of a chestnut. It almost has like a little nutty flavor. and do some research on them. I've done research on them. There's so much to learn about this. It's a lot of health benefits, a lot of medicinal benefits to them. They're delicious.
And we have the stems of the plant here for an appetizer. They just finished battering them up. We're gonna go ahead and fry them up. I like to get my oil at about 320 degrees, and they only take a couple of minutes, so it doesn't take long to fry them up at all. So I'll get them in there now.
So here's the finished product.
That's the finished product right here. If you want to go ahead and try one of those, they are absolutely delicious. If you see the stuff sitting in the center right there, that's actually a relish, Martha, that is made with the lotus pod seed.
Who knew that these flowers were so diverse?
They really, really are. So you've tasted the relish, you've tasted the fried stems. What do you think?
I wouldn't miss French fries if I had these.
I bet.
Really?
Yeah.
So we've got our appetizer. Now we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to show you some encrusted sac-a-lait with the Graine A Voler.
Absolutely.
Hi, I'm Donnie Rouse. There are a lot of different reasons to shop at Rouse's.
It's the people. Everybody that works here is just so nice.
Our stores get deliveries 7 days a week.
They have such a wide variety at Rouse's. Everything's in stock. I mean, everything.
We use Rouse family recipes and ingredients found right here in the store.
It's the food. Rouse's food tastes like homemade.
And they're local.
Like us.
We also have great prices.
That's the difference Rouse's makes.
In 1967, Dutch Stogner realized his dream to run his own meat market. 50 years and 3 generations later, Double D and the Stogner family still operate with Dutch's original commitment to quality. Pick up some Double D sausage today and share your good times with us on Facebook.
Some things in life smell delicious. Others, not so much. Like a gas leak. Propane, for instance, is naturally odorless. That's why we add strong odorants to alert you if there is a leak. So if you ever smell gas, turn your system off at the tank and call your propane dealer immediately. Propane is a safe and exceptional fuel, and we want to keep it that way.
So we've had our Graine A Voler sticks and our relish, and now we're going to have the main dish, which is some sac-a-lait. Tell us what you did with the Graine A Voler seed here.
Okay, what I did with the seed here, Martha, is once the hard part was done, which was after it was harvested and peeling and all the bitter green was taken out, I roasted the seed with a Creole seasoning, which is a very simple process. You literally just shake it in a bag with a little bit of vegetable oil and whatever Creole seasoning you love. Now you need to roast it for about 10 minutes per side at 400 degrees. And when I say per side, pop it in at 400 degrees, take it out in 10 minutes, get a little spatula, flip over the seeds, do it again.
Like if you were roasting sunflower or pumpkin seeds.
You can go a little bit longer if you want, but at that point, you need to watch them because after that, they will burn quickly.
So what, when we put this in the grease, is different about cooking this versus regular fried
I'm glad
fish?
you asked that, because if you notice you're doing a double batter, you're doing the fish fry, you're doing the egg wash, then you're doing the Graine A Voler seed. The Graine A Voler seed burns quick. So you better have your grease ready to go, know your temperature, and it only takes about less than 3 minutes. I'd say about 2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes, and at about 320 degrees.
Perfect.
So if you notice, some of the seeds in there are not as fine because you want to get it between a fine meal and a coarse, like right in between, because you want a little bit of crunch on there. But you know, I would honestly tell people, like, hey, when you bite into that, don't be alarmed, you might get a crunch.
Right.
That's the Graine A Voler seed.
And you also said go lightly on the fish fry because you don't want it to overpower.
Because if you don't have something fit to stick to, it's going to come right off in the grease. So that is very important that you do that step right there.
All right, we're going to throw them in the grease and come back and eat them. We have an entire meal centered around the Graine A Voler. Tell everybody what we've got plated up.
Okay, what we have plated up is we have a delicious seafood slaw, which has blackened shrimp. But if you notice on the top, you're going to have some roasted Creole Graine A Voler seeds crushed on top.
Okay.
And right here, you have some Graine A Voler seed roasted again, on your sac-a-lait. So you have it crusted there on top.
And we had our sticks earlier.
You
I'm not
had-
sure what to call them.
Well,
but-
we call them Graine A Voler fries, French fries, whatever you want to call them.
And what are we garnishing our fish with?
It's
All
just
right.
a mild white seafood sauce. And you don't want to overpower it because you want to really get the flavor of that Graine A Voler. So you just want a little bit drizzle on there.
And of
that's
course,
perfect.
no meal is complete without dessert. Believe it or not, you can make, what is this called?
Swamp candy.
Looks like toffee or praline. Let's give it a try.
It is amazing. And the longer you let it set, the softer it is. You know, so eat it quick. It's like a combination, almost like a soft, like a brittle or a praline.
That's awesome.
And it has the honey roasted Graine A Voler seeds in it.
I never knew you could find so much in a pond. Thanks, Janelle.
Thank you. It was a pleasure, Martha.
was.
This was fun.
I've been using Louisiana Fish Fry products so much, even the kids are getting into it.
Bonio bag, pour and boil, a great crawfish every time.
And whether you're boiling crawfish, shrimp, or crabs, Louisiana Fish Fry products use the perfect blend of garlic, onion, spices, and salt for your seafood boils. So look for the bright yellow bag and pour and boil with Louisiana Fish Fry products.
Whooping cranes are back in Louisiana. Through the hard work of biologists and key strategic partners, whooping cranes have been restored to the cultural icon they once were. But you can still help. To donate to the Whooping Crane program, visit lawff.org.
Thank you to Chevron and the Louisiana Wildlife and Fisheries Foundation for their generous support. Hope you enjoyed this week's episode and hope you'll join us again next week for another Bayou Wild episode. And in the meantime,
Check out our website, Bayou Wild TV. You can find the link there to get some cool stuff like this visor and that hat. You want to check it out there. We'll see you next week on Bayou Wild.